Hello, I'm James Holder. Welcome to another special episode of Not For The News here on Pitch Football. Quite fortunate enough to be joined by my esteemed colleagues, Leon Knight and Curtis Woodhouse. Gentlemen, great to be with you. How are you both?
Yeah, all good, mate.
Yeah,
all good.
How are you, Knighty? All good?
Yeah, I'm nice.
Good. That's what I like to hear. Starting point for this week, Nottingham Forest shock win over Liverpool. A lot of people wouldn't have predicted that win, especially with Liverpool coming on the back of the win over Manchester City. What did you make of it, Curtis, initially?
I did say a few weeks ago that Liverpool had done. They won their cup final, their World Cup final against Man City. Liverpool had done. I don't think they're going to get into the top four. I know they're only 5 points off it, but I see the team as being shot to bits. I think a lot of their major players are done. Van Dijk's done, cannot defend. He's all over the place. Van Dijk is a good player when his team doesn't have to defend. Whenever he's put under stress to defend, he makes mistakes and costs the team goals. I think Liverpool have done it. I wouldn't have had any money on Nottingham Forest beating Liverpool, but when they did, I wasn't like, oh my God. I was like, yeah, standard. Liverpool have done.
It's not like Forest beating City.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? It's not like that sort of scenario. Like I said last a few weeks ago as well. I think after they just played Man City, I said that's the peak that they can hit. That was their season. That game there. Do you know what I mean? And they ain't gonna reach them levels again, I don't think. And like Curtis is saying, when they got beaten, no one was really like, oh my God, it weren't the Liverpool 3-4 years ago. Anyway, so
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Nobody was really that shocked.
Yeah, and when they played Man City, I watched the game, and it was a great game, to be fair. And the intensity that Liverpool pressed out of possession, how they played with the ball, everything was fast and furious, and they were back, but they were back for 90 minutes. And you could see that, it's a bit of a damning statement on that team that they can get up for one game and then all of a sudden they're done again. So, I do think that Liverpool are in a bit of a difficult period. I think they need a lot of ins and outs. I think they're done for a couple of years.
Yeah, a lot of dead wood in that squad. A lot of dead wood. Players that have passed their sell-by date as well. Milner, even though don't get me wrong, he big part, he can still do a job. He's a great professional and stuff and all that. But, with today's game and the youngsters are now quick and strong and, all the athleticism that they've got and stuff, it gets on top of you. It can get on top of you as well. But at that age and, it don't really matter how good you live your life or whatever. It can all that. Once them youngsters get on you, mate, it's flipping, it's curtains.
Yeah. And every team has a cycle, don't they? And it is normally like 3 or 4 years, absolute tops. Yeah. Liverpool have kind of had that cycle. And the only reason Liverpool have not completely dominated is because of Manchester City. Over the last 4 years, Liverpool have been ridiculous. The amount of points that they've got in the league, the runs that they've had in the cups, they have been absolutely ridiculous. And if it wasn't for Manchester City, you're probably looking at this period, the 4 or 5 years that Liverpool have had, as one of the greatest periods in their history. But they just come up against an absolute juggernaut, which is Manchester City.
Yeah. Does Jurgen Klopp, in particular, struggle to rebuild title-winning sides? Do you think he struggles after the first cycle of building that successful team to maybe showing too much loyalty to his existing players and replacing them? Do you think he struggles with that second cycle?
But maybe he gets mentally fatigued as well. The manager, you can see the way he plays, the way he's on the touchline, the emotion that he gives to the fans. Maybe he's done as well a little bit, and maybe he needs recharging. Maybe he needs a fresh challenge.
3-5-2.
It's not just the players as well. The mental stress that a manager gets put under. You can only go so far with certain things, and I really do think. You can never really call for Jurgen Klopp's head because the guy's an absolute legend, but maybe the cycle is up for him as well as the players.
I mean, you can see the difference with him on the sideline. With Curtis saying that, you can see the difference with him on the sideline from 18 months ago to now. Do you understand what I'm saying? When the games end, I always look to see if he's doing the same things, you know, where he pats his chest and he's gone over to the crowd. All right, they ain't had the results that they've had of the past, but it all looks a bit subdued at the moment. It don't look like I'm not saying he's not 100% behind the football club and his players, because he probably is, but like Curtis is saying, he needs a bit of oomph in there. He probably needs recharging. And, you know, maybe he might need a new challenge.
You know what as well, when you think of the manager, obviously you think of the players and all the work they put in, and, you know, everyone appreciates that. But you look at the manager, the manager will spend more hours at that football club than anybody else. You know, he'll be there from 6 a.m. till probably 8 at night. You know, he will be mentally frazzled. All the miles that the manager has to put in, you know, all the air miles going game, stress. Liverpool have got to win every game. You know, the players are not under that stress because of the squad rotation. You know, players get to come in and come out, but the manager is the only constant in all of that. So, you know, I think Jurgen Klopp is an incredible manager. And I think if I could pick one manager out of Klopp and Pep, me personally, I enjoy watching Jurgen Klopp teams play better. You know, when they're on song and they're 100 mile an hour, it's crash, bang, wallop football. I love that style. But I do honestly think that there is only so much you can give to something. And I don't think he's far away from his departure from Liverpool. I honestly believe that.
What? What the fuck?
And Knight is right. When I watch him on the sideline, he hasn't got that same intensity that he had. There's just that little bit missing. He looks a bit tired to me, and he looks a little bit jaded, and he probably needs 12, 18 months out of the game. And I do think his tenure is coming to an end. I really believe that. And it's an incredible tenure, he's an incredible manager. But I think it's trickling towards the end.
Right, let's see if we can hear from Liverpool fan Joe.
Really tough game this afternoon away at Forest. I mean, all credit to Forest for the way they played. You know, at some point the results were going to start changing for them as they brought in so many players. I mean, Liverpool, we started poorly. A lot of poor performances today from the lads, but I know things will get better. I mean, Fabio Carvalho started, Curtis Jones, who's back from injury, started, but we didn't have enough bite in midfield, didn't have enough control in midfield. You know, up front was obviously Firmino, Nunes, Salah. Didn't really seem to work. Found it very difficult to break Nottingham Forest down, but it was a great atmosphere at Nottingham Forest. I mean, they were stayed behind their supporters. Everything they'd done was being cheered. So, and I mean, they built up momentum. It was a good performance by them. A very emotional performance by Taiwo Awoniyi, who played for us previously, who we let go. So, it was a bit emotional for him. I'm sure he'll be happy with the goal. Credit to him, all best to him for the future.
Okay, so we're back for our second featured game. This time, it's the turn of Newcastle with a victory over Tottenham Hotspurs. Big win for Newcastle, potential juggernaut. Before we come on to that, let's break down the game a little bit. Curtis Woodhouse, what did you think about it?
I think Newcastle played with an unbelievable intensity that Spurs couldn't really match. And, you know, for everything I hear in pre-season about Spurs are doing all these mad runs and the players have never been as fit, they look knackered. Spurs looked absolutely shattered. So whether Conte's overcooked them or what, I don't know. But Spurs looked like they had no legs whatsoever, and Newcastle looked like they were so much fitter, probably fresher. I know they're not in Europe or anything like that, but Newcastle just ran all over them, to be honest. Spurs looked cooked, really poor.
Do you agree with that assessment, Nighty? Do you feel that Spurs, the way they're playing, is taking a lot of toll on the team, a lot of pressure, especially on the back line?
Yeah, 100%. I can also put my hand down and say, you know, having worked with Italians as well, they do overcook you. Doesn't matter what Italian it is. I've worked with Ranieri, Di Canio, You can see it in Conte. They just cook you, mate. Like the pre-season is so hard. It's like, like an old school English manager, Curtis. He will cook you, but he will know what, when you're tired or what, or when to, say, oh, go on, have a day off or whatever and this that. Italian managers, they just cook you and cook you and cook you and cook you and cook you day in, day out, and they expect you not to get tired.
Yeah.
And it seems like a joke, but they expect you. It's like, I don't know what it is. Like they just expect you because you're an athlete and you're getting paid all this money and you're eating right and they're overseeing all that. You must not get tired, and if you get tired, they like get annoyed. Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, I've worked with Di Canio in pre-season, and because he could do the run, he's expecting everybody else to be able to do the run, and it don't work like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's some players that can do, like, for instance, if you, like I said to him as well, can you sprint from the 18-yard box to the goal line quicker than me? No, you can't. Now, I ain't having a go at you and saying, why can't you do that? It's just because genetically you can't do it.
I'm stronger. I'm smarter. I'm better.
Genetically, I can't run 15 laps around the pitch as quick as you can. It don't matter if you're flipping 42 years old and I'm only flipping 27 or whatever. My game is compact. I'm small. I'm short. I'm low sense of gravity. I can get into short places very, very quick. But I can last a game. I'd probably play 2 games back to back at that point. But if you were doing a run and it's a long distance run, I'm going to struggle. I've got big legs. I've got big calves. They seize up flipping quick. But when I'm sprinting, they recover fast. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah,
but they don't understand that, Curtis.
I want to know. Who told Knight he had big legs and big calves.
He missed the big ass bit off as well, didn't he?
Baby got back.
Yeah, and a big ass, mate. That's where the power comes from. Don't get it twisted.
Knighty.
Yeah.
Give us an interaction between you and Paolo Di Canio. How would that have gone?
What do you mean interaction?
What club were you at with Di Canio, Knighty?
Well, I was going Swindon, wasn't I?
All right, okay.
Yeah, I was going.
You
Swindon.
had a pre-season with Di Canio then, yeah?
Yeah, I had a pre-season with him, and
just a thought now in my head of you and Di Canio at the same football club fries my brain.
Mate, I'm telling you, mate. Honestly, fuck, he's a
you
nightmare.
Know, the PFA on speed dial.
Mate, he's a nightmare, mate. Honestly, it's just like it just seemed like it was a very, very egotistical kind of guy. Like, if I can do it, why can't you do it? Like that sort of like, do you know what I mean? Not saying he weren't a good manager, because he had these good points and whatever and this, that, and the other, but it was very much about him. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah,
I got that impression in the interviews that I've seen with him. He was very, kind of disrespectful to how am I even managing Swindon?
You people should be thanking Christ that I am who and what I am, because you need me.
He kind of had that aloofness about him. But just going back to the pre-season, I'm just thinking about preparing for a fight. So as I got more experienced, when I was doing training camps, I knew exactly what I needed to do to be ready to fight 12 rounds. So, when I did circuits and I'm getting older, so as I'm doing circuits with the young kids in the gym and they're doing this and that, and sparring 12 rounds with like 4 or 5 different people and they're coming in fresh, I'm like, I ain't doing that, because I'll end up killing myself. I need to get to the fight being fit, but still being fresh enough to fight. And I think it's the same as pre-seasons. As you get more experience as a player, you know what you need to be ready for that first game of the season. And I think a lot of managers need to respect that and give you a little bit of leeway, especially to more experienced ones, because you know what you need. You don't want to overcook yourself. I don't want to do certain things because I know if I keep doing this, I'm going to pull my hamstring. So do you want me flying 4 weeks before the season starts, or do you want me ready for the first game of the season? Because you keep pushing me, I'm going to break down.
how highly do you rate the job that Eddie Howe's doing at Newcastle?
Incredible. You know, you could argue that pound for pound, he's the best manager in the Premier League.
Nope.
You know, because Newcastle have not spent massively, have they? You know, they've not gone crazy. And you look at when he first came, I mean, the club was in a good old-fashioned tangle. And to what they are now, you know, you could argue that they're fourth place on merit. You know, he's done an incredible job. And I love the way the team play. And I was never really an Eddie Howe fan. I was like, this guy, I don't understand why people are talking about him for England, this, that, and the other. But yeah, he's, for me, pound for pound, in the Premier League so far this season, he's done a better job than anybody.
Potentially a Muhammad Ali for women's boxing.
I did tell you about Eddie Howe at the start of these shows. I told you about his power.
You did.
You've got to start listening, Woodchuck.
I was not a believer, but I'm on the train now.
90. Eddie Howe, Newcastle, currently doing a great job by all accounts. Is he the man to take them to the next level? Do you feel that with the financial backing they've got, they can become a real force?
Definitely, with the financial backing they've got, they've become an absolute beast in that Premiership. I think they're the richest club in the world at the moment. So that is undoubtedly, like, that's going to happen. They're going to be massive. Whether Eddie Howe's going to be there or whether he's just taking them, you know, slowly, step by step, and then, you know, they'll pay him off, bring a more established manager in there when they're competing with the first, second and thirds. I don't know. But at the moment, like you said, bloody hell, he's doing a great job. And, you know, few episodes ago, Curtis was always including Newcastle in, you know, top 5 or 6. And I'm thinking to myself, what's this guy on about? Like, but you can see, and you, James, don't worry about it, James. We heard you. Yeah, you've called Eddie Howe out. But I'm talking about Newcastle as an actual football club, like, competing. And I was thinking to myself, what the fuck is going on about? But yeah, they're there. They're there.
You know what as well about Newcastle? Obviously, they've got enough money to kind of get whoever they want, but they're probably 2-3 signings away from being a really, really good team. Like you've got your Man Cities who are above everybody, and then, you know, you're looking at Liverpool are probably going to rebuild, Man United are rebuilding, Spurs are Spurs, Arsenal are Arsenal. You know, so you kind of look at Newcastle and they could be the ones that could really be the next challengers. I think you put a couple of world-class players into that team, which they have got the financial clout to do, all of a sudden you're like, oh, wow, these guys are for real. You know, I'd like to see them kind of probably bring in a centre-back and another central midfielder. So say if you went and got 2 world-class in that position, all of a sudden that team really, really changes. So Maximum as well is out injured. He's not even playing. You can argue he's the best player. So yeah, I really like the job he's done.
I mean, they've got the.
Sorry, boys. I don't know.
Yo, you're right.
I don't know what's going on. Half term, isn't it? Anything can happen. Sorry, lads.
I mean, they've got the financial clout to say we want a centre back, centre midfielder, and a centre forward, world class. And I think Curtis, if they get into Europe next season, they're going to be an absolute problem in the summer buying, and then that season coming up, they're going to be a problem, mate.
Do you know what I like as well, lads?
You know, sorry.
Go on, guys. Go on, mate.
So you know what? At night, you're right. If they get into Europe, you know, what's stopping Newcastle going to get Declan Rice, for example, and saying, well, you know what? We will actually pay 150 million quid for him. So there you go. Let's get it done. Nothing. They could do that. You know, you chuck him. He'd be a great signing for Newcastle. Next to that, Gamirez, is it? Yeah. Gamirez, is he like the Brazilian guy? Is he Brazilian?
Yeah, Bruno.
Yeah, he's a player. Oh, he's a player. And that Isaac as well, which I really like, who's been injured again. You know, I think, you know, I don't think they're far away from being a really, really good side.
Yeah,
they're going to be a problem.
Brought in Botman, like you said. Botman's been decent. But what I like is the way Eddie Howe's managed to get the best out of some of the players he already had. Like Almiron, look at the form he's hit. You would never have put him in the caliber of form and goals he's got this season. So he's a good coach as well as motivator, and they seem to be shrewd in the transfer market. What I want to know is, where do you boys stand on the fact that Newcastle have got this money? Do you think it's good for football? Do you think it's bad for football? What's your take on it?
Well, listen, flipping, it's been happening the whole time. Just ain't happened for Newcastle yet. That's all. You know, United have done it. United have done it. Chelsea have done it. City are doing it now. Like, you know, it's just coming around where it's Newcastle's turn now. I don't like when people go, oh, you're just buying the whatever and this, that, and the other. Listen, if your team had the opportunity, if you support a team and they had the opportunity to buy whoever, you would not be complaining. Mm-hmm. So just shut up, deal with it, and compete as best you can, just like they're doing with Man City now, whose turn it is with Man City now, buying up who they want. And, you know, they've got a manager there that's doing great stuff. That cycle, like Curtis is saying, is like a 3, 4, 5 year cycle. Might be a bit longer with City, but that's also going to come to an end. And it's who's going to step in that place there then after that.
Do football fans really care where the money comes from, Curtis?
No, they don't. And you know what, as football fans, which, you know, we all are, I don't really think it's our place to start moaning now when we let so many other things go. You know, if you were to break down, if you started moaning about, you know, where the money comes from for Newcastle United, you need to start having a look how you live in your own life and where you're shopping and different, you know, clothes shops that you go into and different fast food places you start going to, and start doing a little bit of research on where their money goes or where their money came from. You know, so I think there's a lot of hypocrisy when people start pointing the finger at football clubs. You know, people with glass houses shouldn't throw stones, and I think there's a lot of that going on regarding Newcastle United. Is it perfect what goes where they get their money from? No, but it's happening all over the world in all walks of life. So he without sin cast the first stone, as it says in the Bible.
So I can stand on mountains. You raise me.
Oh, Scheiße!
If they get Champions League football or even European football, do you think it will turn a switch with the money men at Newcastle where they think, do you know what? It's time to show how much financial clout and power we have now.
Well, this is what I'm saying. If they get into Europe, if they get into Europa, it's still going to be like a process what they're going to be building. I don't think they will just go splash and start buying up and whatever. But you see, if they get into the Champions League, bro, problem.
Yeah.
An absolute problem, mate, because they're going to have the attraction of players wanting to go there. Remember, Newcastle United, bro, have got some of the unbelievable fans. Their fans are ridiculous. Yeah? And that also goes with players joining clubs. Curtis will tell you, as a former player, you like to go where there's fans that are passionate and do you know what I mean? And that is one place, mate. Anybody that goes to that club will tell you the same thing about the fans.
And you know what about Newcastle? They're not like a Man United who've been winning stuff forever and ever and ever. So the fans kind of get used to it. If you win something with Newcastle United, you are a legend. They haven't won anything for so long. And that is right. If Newcastle United get into the Champions League, you're talking the possibility of Mbappe going.
Nope.
You know, an unhappy Mbappe, all of a sudden, Newcastle can go and say, yeah, no worries, we can do that. You know, and all of a sudden, all these players start being a real possibility of landing on Newcastle's doorstep. Right. And I think that Newcastle brings something really, really nice to the party. I like it. Because I do enjoy it where Man United, you know, and the big traditional clubs have had it all their own way for so long. And now you're going to get Newcastle that are going to come along and be sticking it right up them. I enjoy that.
Well, will the big players go to Newcastle?
Nope.
Will they live in the northeast? This is what I'm going to get at. You know, it's more
Mate,
attractive for players to
listen.
have that lifestyle. Are they going to settle there? Is it feasible to get Mbappe and the likes of Newcastle.
Listen, money talks, mate. Yeah, money talks. You slap the Reddies down and you slap that contract down for 5-6 years, and you give them the money that they want.
Billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions.
They are going to Newcastle River, sleet, snow, hailstones. It doesn't matter.
Listen, you know Mbappe, he could live where he's living now and play for Newcastle. It's about an hour in a helicopter.
Yeah.
You know, it's no biggie. So these players they're not going to be living in the middle of Newcastle, are they? But they can live in London and jump on a helicopter and be there in 20 minutes. You know, it's no issue for these boys. The amount of money they're going to be on, and yeah, the answer is yeah.
And all that will be in their contract as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? All of that will be in their contract. Like, I want travelling arrangements because I'm not living in Newcastle. No disrespect, but I'm just saying I want travelling arrangements from Manchester.
Minicab.
Do you know what I mean?
Curtis send for the chopper Woodhouse. You ain't messing about, mate. Messing about.
Did you have in your contract, mate, that you used to have to live a certain amount of distance away from the ground, training ground?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that at Birmingham. It used to be, I think it was an hour maximum away.
I had that at Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I lived on Ecclesall Road from Sheffield Wednesday.
Wasn't that quite a lively bit of town back then, like?
Yeah, man.
Main sort of area to go out was.
You know, I think it helps as well when everyone's kind of living local, because once you finish training, you're all kind of intermingling together. I think it's a really good thing.
I mean, when we was at Swansea, and I don't think I've ever been in a changing room quite like it, because everybody lived within like 3 miles of each other.
Yeah.
Like in one, because Swansea's not that big. And then after training, we'll go to like this Italian restaurant, and they will do our lunch and stuff. Do you know what I mean? And we'll all be there. Probably 2 or 3 players missing or whatever, but everyone will be there. We'll have something to eat. We'll have a laugh or whatever. Everyone will go home. You'll be home. And then next thing you know, you're sleeping. You're up again. Bam, you're back in training. Like, do you know what I mean? It was very like that. And but not most probably, because the town was so small, but it brung like the players together. Like, do you know what I mean? If we was all going, if there was a night out, it was everybody that was down out. Do you know what I mean? It was like, if there was a problem out when we was out, everybody was out anyway. So it was like, do you know what I mean? So I like that as well. I like that. It got the best out of me as well when I was around. If I was like, for instance, segregated from everything and it was just me, I find it more difficult. I was raised in the environment when I went to Lillishall of everybody being together. And that is just the way like I identified with football. So when I was living away kind of from the ins and outs and like the atmosphere of the like club and the players, it kind of like disjointed me a little bit. But you see, as soon as I got into a club that like everyone was together and was doing everything together and stuff, bam, it clicked in, and I was like, you get my best football out of that.
Yeah, you want to feel part of the football club, don't you?
Yeah.
Us into the next topic quite nicely. Cristiano Ronaldo certainly not feeling part of the football club at Manchester United at the moment. Training on his own, rightly or wrongly, refused to come on as a substitute for the team. What's your take on it all? Curtis, I'm going to initially go to you on this. What do you make of the Cristiano Ronaldo situation?
Just move him on. It's boring now, isn't it? You know, move him on. He's not going to play him. He's not part of his plans. You know, make adjustments for him to leave on January the 1st and shake hands and everyone go their own separate ways. It's just the best way to do it.
Has he tarnished his achievements with Manchester United with the way he's acted? Do you think the fans will forgive and forget when all things are said and done?
Yeah, I think this phase of Ronaldo's tenure at Manchester United in a few years' time be forgotten. People just remember the Ronaldo that left to go to Real Madrid when Ronaldo was like, whoa, this guy's a superstar. I don't think he's tarnished his legacy at all. And I think a big chunk of it is Manchester United have failed him as much as he's failed them. I'd probably put the blame more on Manchester United than what I would on Cristiano Ronaldo. because he wants to win badly. And for too long at that football club, he's been surrounded by players that are not good enough.
Interesting. Nighty, what's your take on it all? How do you see it? How did you see it? And what's your opinion on Ronaldo's actions or lack of action, as the case may be?
Bro, if I was him, I'd have paid myself up and gone a long time ago. Tried to find somewhere else. But obviously, that's not within his thoughts. But he's got the dough. He ain't going to struggle, even if he does flip in and say, you know what, I'll buy myself out of this contract. It's fucking long.
I think it's the last time we'll hear the word zoo at Manchester United. Do you think that's...
Yeah, it's like Curtis is saying, like, it's not his fault. Now, don't get me wrong. He's not the same Ronaldo that was there first time round. Obviously not. But in that sense, even saying, he was their top goal scorer last season. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, you can't just disrespect him and outcast him to the sideline. Like, I'd be pissed off as well.
Yeah,
I would be pissed off, bruv. Like, if I'm on the bench...
Would you refuse to come on, though, Nighty?
Yes.
Would you storm off and not support your teammates?
Yeah, fuck that. I don't give a shit. Simple. I'm storming off. I'm everything. Like, especially if you've got what he's got behind him. On top of what he's got behind him, last season, you was the top goal scorer. I'll be pissed.
I think the manager has to know his player. And he has to know if he's not going to be playing Cristiano Ronaldo, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
So they should have got rid of him in the summer. This should never have gone on for as long as it's gone on. You know, and I don't know whether he didn't go because nobody wanted him. I mean, he's not going to come cheap, is he? So the teams that can actually sign him are probably really, there's not a lot of them in a small pot. But from the manager's point of view, I don't think it's been handled great. You know, for me, if it was me in charge, and I know he's not going to be my main centre forward, I'd be saying to the board, we've got to get rid of this guy because he's going to be causing headaches. And as soon as he's not turned up to like 95% of the pre-season, you've got to be going to overdrive to sell this guy. And the fact that he's still here and we're almost in November just shows it's been really badly managed, the whole situation.
You just pay him up half his contract and say, would you take this? Like, because we can't pay up all your contract. Even like 30%. Like, dude, try and make steps because it's killing the club. You can just see it every time Ronaldo's not involved or he's on the bench. The cameras are zooming over to him. It's all about him and him not being in the side. You lot lose, bam, it's straight to Ronaldo. Why didn't they play Ronaldo? Blah, 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 this, that, ever. You miss chances like Rashford's been missing chances the last few games. Oh, if Ronaldo was in that position, you're never gonna catch a break as a manager. You're meant to go to the board and say to the board, like Curtis is saying, listen, we need to do something here. Whether we're paying him up 30, 40 or 50% and trying to get him out the door, we need to do something. And you've got to have a couple of months.
Is it not his own doing though? Is it not his own doing though, Nighty? The fact he did not actively get involved in pre-season. He looked from the outside like he was demotivated, wanted out. Are you expected to start every game with them sort of antics and attitude?
No, but yet still, yeah, you've got to look at him. He didn't come back fat. Yeah. You see, when you've got superstars, like Curtis is saying, you've got to know how to handle these superstars. Yeah. And that's not telling them how to play. They know how to play. That's why they're superstars. You've just got to know how to handle them on a day-to-day basis. Now, him missing pre-season, you've got to say to yourself, has he come back unfit? Now, we know Ronaldo ain't coming back unfit. Yeah? Is he in with the squad now? Is he training? Is he, entwining? Is he talking? Is he, like everybody should be? Seems like it.
He weren't no night. He was putting out negative tweets about the youngers not listening to him.
Yeah, but even yet still. So what? They should be fucking listening to him.
If that was the case, I think Manchester United have viewed him differently since these things. They clearly relied on his goals last season. I think if he hadn't backed it up, he would have been starting games this year. I think he's
Same thing I keep saying. You've got to know how to manage superstars. End of story. So they might do certain things that you don't like. Yeah? At the end of the day, what's good for the club? Is he going to tuck? He gets one opportunity. Is he going to tuck it? Yes, he's going to tuck. If Rashford and Ronaldo get 5 chances each, who is scoring the most goals?
If you're picking your best 11 now for United, would you put him in it?
I'm putting him up top.
Yeah. See, I don't think I would.
I'm putting him up top.
I've got to agree with Woodhouse at the moment. I think the team play better when he's not in it at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Ronaldo's a terrible sub because of the reason he don't want to be there. You get certain subs that are sat there on the bench and they're like, when I come on, I'm scoring. Where you can see, like Knighty said, that the camera pans to him. It's hard because like he could argue that he's been the greatest player to ever play football. And he's sat there and he's watching some of the players and he must be thinking like, how am I not in this team? You know what I mean? It's like me when the vets put the team on, they got me at left back. I'm like, guys, who's playing centre midfield ahead of me here? You know, it must be like Ronaldo must be like, he can't get his head around it, he's not playing. So then I think, like you said, the thing then you have to do as manager, you got to see this coming. Ronaldo should not be in the beginning of November still being at Manchester United. He should have gone a long, long time ago. So I think he's been failed by a lot of people. But I agree with what James is saying as well. I think Ronaldo's attitude and the ill discipline that he showed has been out of order as well, really. You know, he's got to understand.
Yeah, but Curtis, if you've been treated like he's been treated, would you kind of, now he ain't lashed out or anything, but would you lose your rag a little bit?
Yeah, no, yeah, 100%. I do kind of understand it, but I think he needs to understand he's a big shadow. So when he behaves how he behaves, it has a massive negative impact on the whole football club. And I think he's done certain things knowing he's not stupid. He knows what's going to be the aftermath of it all. And I think he's made things a lot more awkward than what they need to be fair.
I hear that. Now, we've seen politics rearing its ugly head again in football. Iran's place in the World Cup potentially being handed to Ukraine.
That's not fair!
What are your thoughts on things like this taking place? Where do we sort of stand on it?
Wait, what is the actual situation? Why is Iran going to be deleted and Ukraine are going to be? What is the actual why is that?
I'm guessing it's the same reason that Russia have been deleted from football and competitions. It's to do with stuff away from football, isn't it? It's to do with sales of art.
Oh, so it's politics.
Yeah, politics. Politics is playing its ugly head.
Okay, well, we should be banned for certain things as well then. And America. And a load of other countries. Fuck me.
Yeah. I was just about to say what Knighty said. I mean, how far are we going back? Because if that's the case, England should never kick another football in a major tournament ever. We've raped and pillaged half the world to get our wealth.
Did you do this for a hobby? Fucking annoy people.
So we're allowed to mention that. I think FIFA are only going back for the last decade. I think so.
Yeah, this is what I'm trying to say.
Back on it. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
who makes the rules? You know what I mean? We can't. Yeah, I mean you can't. What madness?
We've absolutely cleaned Africa out for their jewels and diamonds and stuff like that. Yeah, wipe them out literally. Yeah, and posing with it in flipping online news and stuff with the Queen and this and rare and all these jewels that everybody's got. They're not even ours. We stole them, bro. Do you get what I'm saying? America, their guy World Cup, right? They've absolutely bullied every country. Yeah? For no reason. Other than oil.
Wow.
Other than gold. So how, like Curtis is saying, how far are we going back? Because if we're going back to like 2001, 2000, couple, we should not be allowed back in that flipping World Cup, bro. America, defo not. They tried to say it was them Taliban man that took out the towers. That is long. Come on, bruv. America, England at the World Cup, simply.
Is it a worry that teams can be cancelled from sporting events? It's clearly got nothing to do with any of the footballers, what the governments decide to do, okay? Is it a worry for free sport, for fair competition, that teams can be cancelled over actions of said governments?
The whole cancel thing for me in general is a really slippery slope where once you get on that slope, there is no good coming of it. You know, when you go back years and years and so-and-so said so-and-so, so now he can no longer work. I find it crazy. You know, the whole cancel culture in sport. I think sport, as much as it possibly can, should always try to remain neutral and to remain about, I'm from England, you're from Spain, me and you are going to compete against each other on a level playing field. Forget everything else that's going on politically or racially or whatever it is. Let's just compete on an even playing field to find out who the best is at our chosen sport.
Am I happy about the fact that this is the way the world works? No, I'm not.
And I think sport needs to remain, like I said, as much as it possibly can, completely neutral and away from all the point scoring, which a lot of it is, and slapping and all that nonsense. And let's just play the game and play the sport. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the cancel culture nonsense.
If you're cancelling because of certain things, like I just now said, you have to now bring everybody into that boat.
Yeah, and who makes the rules?
Yeah, who's done what?
Yeah, but also as well, like who makes the rules of what's acceptable and what isn't acceptable?
This is what I'm trying to say. It don't make no sense.
Because in some countries things are acceptable, in other countries they're not. So how can we say from Western civilization that our thoughts and our laws are better than yours? Who are we to say that?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just a path that we shouldn't even go down. For me, it's nonsense.
Here's one for you. Are they wrong in excluding Russia? Are they wrong in not allowing Russian players to apply their trade in European countries, like football players in particular?
Well, this is what I'm trying to say. Are they going out and doing the killings? Are they going out and driving the flipping airplanes to go and drop bombs on people? No, they're not.
We're just innocent men.
That you can't help we couldn't help when our people from our country went and took what they're taking from Africa, from the flipping Afghanistan, wherever it was. Yeah, we can't help that. Same with the Russians. They can't help that. You're just punishing them for what their leaders doing or what their leaders are doing. Like, you can't do that. That don't make no sense.
Who do you think's dropped more bombs on innocent people over the last 10 years out of England and Russia?
Right, there you go.
Tough question. I've not got the statistics in front of me.
Behave yourself. You don't even need fucking statistics.
Well,
you don't even need statistics.
You know I like statistics.
You know, so who are we to start judging anyone else? And like you said, especially America, you know, we've had wars all over the world. And whenever America involved in a war, who do you think comes tottering behind them? How many arms have we paid for other countries to invade other countries? That makes us just as guilty as the people doing the killing. You know, so we've got to be really, really careful. It can open a can of worms. Like I say, let sport be sport. Let politics be politics.
Woodchuck's going to get us cancelled from the World Cup at this rate. Slow down a little bit, yeah.
At least we got an excuse for not winning it.
No, but you've got to talk how it is. Like, do you know what I mean? It's shit. Nah, they're gonna and because Ukraine have been bombed, Ukraine have to come into the World Cup. Like, there's other countries who've been bombed that ain't in the World Cup. Why are you bringing them in?
Okay, you're good to go.
It's a very good point. I don't see anyone campaigning to bring Yemen into the World Cup.
This is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like, why aren't you bringing in these? Why is it Ukraine?
Yeah. Do you know that there's so many wars happening around the world that we don't even know about because it's not on our TV. It's not rammed down our throats. So where do we end with this?
While we're on the subject of cancel culture, a Premier League referee will make his return to working again, Bob Madley, after a 4-year exodus, okay? Posted a video on his social media. Whether you found it funny, you didn't find it funny is not the question. That got that man cancelled for 4 years from one social media post. Go and find out what he posted. I think that would be more adding to the weight of the debate. What are your thoughts? Again, we're going in on cancel culture this week. It's obviously affecting people, not just footballers. Referees are getting cancelled. What are your thoughts on it all? Nighty, I'm going to go straight to you on this one.
4 years is a bit long, isn't it? Flipping hell.
Yeah.
For just one post.
It is when paedophiles are getting 18 months and some of them 6 months.
Do you know what I mean? 4 years, bro. Out of the game. What did he actually post?
I've just got this up now. So apparently he posted a video, okay, of someone with a disability walking impaired. And he said, the quote was, "I bet this man still beats me at Father's Day sports run." So he was making a joke, as in he was so unfit that this person with the impairment would beat him. That was his sort of argument with it. Someone reported it. The worst thing is he didn't actually post it. He sent it to a private message to one of his, I guess, associates. So it's a strange world that we live in, that the man would be cancelled for 4 years, whether highly misjudged or inappropriate his joke, comment, or whatever else is. Don't try to.
Why is it inappropriate though? I don't understand. He's taking the piss out of himself.
He had consent to film that man walking down the street night. I mean, the geezer's going about his day limping about. He's filmed him. He's probably not got consent to do that. It's not the right thing to do. So I guess that would be
who's told, like, come on, man. This is the thing about cancel culture and stuff. It's the same within like stand-up comedy as well. Like, it's all being like smothered with this. Like, bro, it's a joke, bro.
Should there be a different punishment, okay, for people that do these silly type of things, rather than cancel culture, rather than you've lost your job, you're this, you're that? Should there be a different law?
Yeah, just take a week's wages off of him. Do you know what I mean? And you know what I mean? Probably miss a weekend of games. That's it. Back in next week.
4 years. Man didn't work for
4 years, bro.
4 years.
So what's been the benefit of that? Who's won out of that? Who's won out of him not working for 4 years in the middle of a pandemic? Probably financially put him and his family under serious stress. Who's won out of all of this?
It's a good point. I'm guessing people that are campaigning against this sort of prejudice. That's the only way I can look at it. I don't know. It's an interesting question, to be honest with us.
Yeah, there's no winners, is there? It's I actually feel really sorry for him. If that's the information and that's why he got cancelled, like I say, in the middle of a pandemic where he needed to work, needed to provide. I actually really feel sorry for the guy. And when he spoke about it, didn't have any consent to film him. Do you know how many times footballers get phones stuck in their face when they're out doing whatever they want to do, KFC or whatever? You know, what happened? Do the fans then get cancelled?
Yeah.
You know, I feel that for me, that's a terrible story. A really terrible. The guy's probably got a wife, got kids, can't work, gets condemned in the street. Shocking.
Sorry, not.
And it's not
down, lad. You know what I mean?
And it's not like him taking a piss out of the person.
No,
it's him taking a piss out of himself, saying like, you know what I mean? I can't run, or I'm just, you know, I'm so unfit. Like, and then mate, honestly, that is fucking terrible. Mate,
well, the thing I don't get is he didn't post it to a public forum. So now are we controlling what people do in their own private?
That's what I'm trying to say.
Realm, their thoughts. It's a real tricky situation.
I'm not being funny. What the fuck is going on?
Hey, and listen, right? let's all be honest here. So if these people that are judging us all, and they're the standards, if they had a hidden camera in every household across the United Kingdom, about 95% of us had never worked another day in our lives. Because we all say things under our roof, which we would never say anywhere else. And
100%.
because your family are close and around you, they understand that a lot of it is tongue in cheek. We're having a laugh and a joke amongst friends and family. But I know for a fact, I say some certain things in my household that I could not say in public. So, you know.
WhatsApp groups as well. WhatsApp groups. Like,
yeah.
You're not allowed to have a laugh with your friends for fear that someone may take offense and try to cancel you. On
Look at our WhatsApp. Look at our WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Do you know what I mean?
That's not for the easily offended, is it? Let's be brutally honest.
Exactly. Like, if one of us came out of there now and went to go and flipping tell on one of each other, whoever put in whatever they put in, like, that is shit.
New members of the group have to sign a waiver, I reckon.
Like, that is so shit. Imagine coming out of the group chat, taking a message or a picture or a GIF or something that somebody else put in, go and reporting it, and that person getting flipping cancelled.
You suck.
For a hate crime, nonetheless.
Imagine.
That message would count, I guess, as a hate crime.
That's the lowest of the low.
When he told me he had a 4-year ban, James, I was thinking a multiply of 100 of what he'd done and what he'd said. I can't believe that.
Yeah,
it was that.
This is
wow.
His ban wasn't 4 years, but he just wasn't offered any work. So you can
cancel culture.
It's cancel culture, isn't it? If you're saying no, he's fine to work, but there's no hours here for you, mate. It's a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Weird one.
Everybody just has to lighten up, mate. Do you know what I mean? We all have a laugh and a joke. Everybody can tell when somebody's having, poking a joke at someone or having a bit of fun. And everybody can tell when somebody's serious when what they're saying. Even really online as well, you can kind of tell, like, now and again you might get a bit mixed up. But even if someone posts something online and there's commenting underneath something that's a bit like, but you can tell when someone's joking from when they're not. We just all need to lighten up, bruv. It's just too soft out here.
Is this not the millennial snowflake generation that we're living in?
Yep.
People identifying as bots and whatever else.
I was in Blackpool over the weekend. It was my godson's 18th birthday. So there was me, my son, my best mate and his son. They're half Indian. And a ginger-haired guy with us. Obviously, I'm half Jamaican. Mate, the gloves were off.
I didn't hear no bell.
Listen,
hey,
bro.
it was all going off, but it's all out of love. And if you put a hidden camera on us for the evening, mate, none of us would ever work again ever. Yeah. We need to be really careful, don't we? Because like Knight said, we need to be really careful where we're going with it, because we're not allowed to have fun anymore amongst each other.
Yeah.
And I said, sorry, just to put this in, I tweeted something the other day, right, about Thomas Partey, right? And I said, imagine people, because he was playing well against Southampton, done a couple of things, and I just tweeted and I said, listen, bloody hell. Imagine people wanted to actually put him into jail, and he's not jail, and look how the universe is working now. Because him and Xhaka have been unbelievable, right?
Mm.
You're like, listen to this. This is what I'm saying. You've got players that they say have raped women. They're now in jail. Greenwood, Johnson, Mendy, Sigurdsson, all these, if not jail, completely out of football. Yeah? So now we saying Thomas Partey is above the law. Or are we saying this person who's saying he's raped and this, that, and the other, and paid her money, what are we saying? Because I'm saying, he wouldn't still be playing if this was all like concrete, what people are saying. I'm not saying there's no ifs and bits and he weren't in and around her and stuff like that. Yeah? But come on. Let's be real. Like, why can't I say that? Because he's on the pitch playing.
I think legally, if he done these things, he wouldn't be able to play on a Saturday afternoon, would he?
This is what I'm trying to say. This is what I'm trying to say. Greenwood done what he done, and within 45 minutes of them things landing on the net, he was arrested.
Yeah. I suppose everyone deserves a due process, don't they? You know, you look at what's going on with Conor Benn now, who's obviously popped for drugs, and Eddie Hearn keeps going on about due process. Let the guy have due process. And he's right, really. Everyone deserves due process in everything because we only know what we see on the internet. Yeah, everyone deserves that because there's a lot of people out there that are innocent that get cast with a certain dye that never leaves you for the rest of your life.
Bruv, I had the whole internet on my case. Imagine you've got 4 daughters. Imagine if your daughter got raped and blah, 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 and this, that, and the other. And I'm thinking to myself, bruv, like, you lot are talking like you lot were there. You saw the rape happen, yeah? And you, that's it. Or you lot are going on like, that's your daughter. This girl's just chatting. She's putting up scripts. What?
I'm starting to worry a bit. This is
about
the second week in a row you've backed one of these dudes.
That dirty little bastard.
I don't give a shit. Who else is that back?
What was the other one you put in the pile? Wasted talent last week. His name.
Robinho.
What?
Robinho.
Do you know what the scary thing is about it all is?
Johnson. You're talking about Johnson.
Johnson. Yeah.
I'm not doing, bro. I'm just saying. I asked Curtis, when your daughter gets ready to go out, yeah, what age does she look?
Yeah, I hear your argument. They are valid.
I'm also saying on that part there is, do you go up to a girl in a club and say, how old are you?
Yeah, I hear that.
You just automatically think she's in the club. She's old enough to be in the club.
Yeah, I hear that. I think the issue with the party stuff came as because he's not been charged. A lot of people are going to speculate, and it adds more fuel to the fire, doesn't it? So I guess when someone comes out to defend him, people are going to.
I'm defending him. So say it live on Pitch Football. I'm defending him. Until he's proven and put behind bars, yeah. Same way what's happened with Greenwood. I was like, boy, that might be the way they roll, that rough and tough stuff, and the way they talk to each other, and you know they have fights and this, that, and the other, and blah, blah, blah. But now you got to trust the law. The law said, "Nah, fuck this. He's getting put in jail."
You know, the scary bit about it all is, as men, we're all vulnerable to something like this. Every one of us is vulnerable to something. And I speak to my son about it all the time. You know, when he's out on a Saturday night, you know, and he gets a girl or whatever, be careful.
There's some demons out there, mate.
Be careful.
I'm telling you.
Because we can all be vulnerable to this. And there sometimes has to be absolutely no proof to any of it. Just a word on the internet and you're cooked forever. You know, and I think
what advice would you give to young players then, in particular, when it comes to putting yourself in certain situations? These are young men, and bottom line, young men, they're gonna want to go out, they're gonna want to meet girls, aren't they?
Yeah, well, listen, I'd be saying don't put yourself in that situation. You have too much to lose. Don't put yourself in that situation. You know, if you are going to be meeting girls or whatever, try and get some sort of dialogue via phone, you know, texts or something like that first, so you've got some sort of evidence. But don't just be rolling back to a girl's house 4 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday night. For me, if you do that, you're putting yourself in a really vulnerable situation for her to say anything the next day.
I would say to any youngster, not only football, but any like walk of life, like with these girls of today, I would say never go back after a night out. Never. Get their number.
Yeah.
Talk to them. Yeah. You see, on the first meetup that you meet up, make sure it's public. It's somewhere public.
That's the practicalities of life. Sometimes plays a different route.
No. Well, this is where you've got to become. No. You've got to be disciplined. You've got to protect what you, especially if you're a footballer. You've got to protect what your profession is. You've got to protect yourself. Like, don't meet her in like just you and her, and it's no one can see. Meet in a public place. Go for something to eat. Yeah. Tell her to bring her fucking passport when she's coming. Yeah.
I agree. I think you can't meet a girl on a night out and go back with her.
No,
you can't do that.
No, that don't make no sense.
Yeah, them days are gone.
Days are gone. Yeah, they're gone. James is saying, things don't happen. You've got to make it happen like that.
Yeah.
You've got to be that in charge of your career that you don't.
Yes. You have to be. You have to be, or else you end up like Adam Johnson.
Now I'm panicking.
You can't just be going out now and saying you're bringing back girls. That is a myth.
With the genealogy in my family, my son had probably been in a 9-year relationship by the age of 18, settled down. I mean,
I actually think
that's the best way.
Yeah, I actually think what we're talking about now is a real issue within young professional athletes. A real issue. This when we were kind of coming through, it was, talking about dealing with money and this, that. I don't think that's the issue anymore for these young athletes in the public eye. I think it's learning to deal with people that will be looking to take advantage, whether that be females, whether that be financial advisors or agents or whatever. And I think
or your mates. Or your mates.
But I think Knight is right. I think players have to really take responsibility here. So, but I was out on a night. No. Do not be doing that. They're all on enough money now to take security out with them, and make sure that they are not going back to girls' houses, because this can, you don't get a 3-game ban. You can end up in Wentworth.
Yeah.
This is really, really serious. And unfortunately, girls are different these days. And I know that might sound terrible. Girls are different these days. You got to be careful, boys. If any young player is listening to this, you have to be really careful, and you have to take responsibility of what you're doing on a night out and who you're doing it with.
You've got to listen. If I was coming up in today, yeah, you've got to go as far as getting an investigator. If you like this girl, bruv, you're laughing. You're actually laughing. But me personally,
you on the phone to the investigator, giving your girlfriend
personally
dress over.
No, but personally,
I picture it. I can tell.
Like me personally, yeah, right. You could be dealing with a girl that's broke up with a mental case ex-boyfriend, fucking loopy, to the point where now if he sees her with you, he's coming to break your fucking legs. You've got a career to look after.
This happens in more situations in life than people realise, things like this.
I'm telling you, bro. Yeah. You might end up with a girl, yeah, whose geezer's been on the road, sells drugs, got fucking handling in guns and this and whatever and this, that, and the other. Now, all of a sudden, you're fucking beating the arse off of it. She's feeling you, you're feeling her. All of a sudden, he gets whipped of it. You're in a bit of sticky situation here.
I'm in danger.
So when I'm trying to say about investigators, all it's going to take is a few £100, maybe a grand and change to try and get a proper investigator to say, listen, who the fuck is that? Who am I dealing with? What's her parents like? What's she got siblings? Like, where's she been from beforehand? Has she got a criminal record? Has she got... This is what you have to be doing now as a flipping athlete, a professional athlete. That's not only football, that's basketball, that's fucking tennis, that's wherever. Because like Curtis is saying, girls are not the same. They're not the same as they was.
You make a lot of points. I'm not going to lie. The way you broke it down, at first I had a little bit of trepidation towards hiring an investigator, but the way you broke it down, I think any girlfriend my son gets needs to be investigated thoroughly.
Right.
Looks complicated. Now, these aren't 100% accurate, right? They're...
Well, you'd be surprised how accurate they are.
Bruv, can you imagine being Grealish? Can you imagine being Grealish and trying to like settle down with somebody? Your Gucci's fucking face of fucking the thing. Yeah, you're 100 million quid. You're at the fucking biggest club in the fucking world. Girls are gonna do the most demon shit to try and get with you.
All right. Have you ever known a player that's been fooled by a demon and ended up getting settled down to a demon as described in the podcast so far?
Yes.
Serious?
Yes. Probably every club I've been at, there's been a geezer in a situation that's just been absolutely fucked. And out of respect, I'm not going to mention no names.
Of course.
But I won't come on air and lie. I've been at about 17 clubs. At every club, there's been an absolute geezer in a mess.
I've been at a few clubs where you've been in the players' bar after, you've had like nights out where you've taken the girls, and you realise, that ain't gonna last long. And they might have been together for like 5 or 6 years with a couple of kids. Yeah, and you see it, and it's not nice. It's not pretty. How many people, when we were footballers and you went out in couples, how many people that we went out with are actually still together now? I reckon less than 10%.
100%. 100% less than 10%.
In which case, a footballer's better off settling down with someone from their own life rather than someone they meet when they're established and well off. Like we look at, for instance, I don't know, Wayne Rooney and Colleen, for example.
Better.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. Wayne's drifted off and done some stupid shit or whatever. Do you know what I mean? But this is where, if you start with somebody and they're from the same area and your parents are friends with their parents, it helps. Because now she ain't going to go out and say, I'm going to rip the arsehole out of you. Fuck you. You try to disrespect me. You disrespect me in front of the world. Yeah, I'm divorcing you and I'm taking every damn thing you've got. Now, that don't happen when you grow with someone from knee high. It happens when you meet somebody out. They know your bank balance already. They know the wage bill that's coming in monthly. They know all the flipping perks and whatever that's coming in on top of all of that. Yeah, fuck around with them once, even half fuck around with them, and you see what's gonna happen.
Harry Kane's with a girl that he went to school with as well, isn't he? That been together for ages.
Simple.
Do you think it makes a big difference then? Do you think we could even go far as to equate more successful careers with players that have had a childhood sweetheart in their life, or that person that's not come in when they've been at the top of the pyramid?
James, sorry, go on.
No, I just think if you're settled in life, then your professional life will always be better, whether that be you're a footballer, a businessman, whatever it is. If life's good at home, you perform better. That's just how it is. If you're out chasing hood rats on a weekend, life ain't going to be good because they bring drama and stress.
100%.
Yeah, fully relatable.
We've all been there.
Do you know what it is with the young players? I'm guessing they've got a lot of money. They're included in the best nights out. They can go to any place that maybe their friends couldn't have gone and mixed with before their stardom. Their friends are getting involved with them on nights out. And sometimes camaraderie can get the better of people. Once they're alcohol and that. Testosterone.
This is where discipline comes into it. This is the challenges that come your way with being a professional footballer and being on 100 grand a week and stuff. You have to come over these speed bumps.
90 sounds like a monk now, yeah? I can imagine young 90 being single, being right amongst it.
Yeah, and I'm telling you from experience.
Yeah.
Don't fuck around.
But
if you fuck around, you're gonna feel. Go on.
Yeah, no, Nighty's right. You have to take responsibility, because this is, if it all goes tits up, it goes tits up for you, nobody else. So this is your career in your hands. And, you know, I train a couple of young boxers. I've mentioned them before. Adrian, the next king. I honestly think he's going to be a superstar, and with that comes a whole different ball game about with women. You know, Adrian's a young man. Ben, another kid I trained, Ben, he's only 14, so he's a way off that yet. But I speak to Adrian on a regular about being careful on nights out. And I'm going to say it. He's a 6'6" black man with dreadlocks. The rules are not the same. However you want to dress it up, the rules are not the same.
Okay, you're good to go.
So he has to be really careful when he's out and about, and he's messing about with girls. And he probably thinks I'm like, chill out, granddad. But I see the pitfalls that can happen and come his way and ruin a career before it's even up and running. And it must happen so many times in football. So I think Knighty's right. Our job, I think, as older statesmen that have been through the mill a little bit, you know, I don't know too much about Knighty's backstory, but been through the mill a little bit, it's our job to make sure people that we're around don't have to go through it, because we look out for them. And I think that's our job. So I think that's what Knighty's saying. You know, it's our job to make sure we pass on what we know.
To help save lives, stay at home.
Mate, I know some players that I played with. I obviously would never mention names, that were good players, made good money, and retired broke.
Yeah.
And they've been through divorces and not been able to see their kids and stress. You see them break down in tears and got no money because they made wrong decisions around women.
I had a player. I ain't even going to mention the club because you guessed the player straight away. I was at a club and I came in one day and this player was sleeping in his car. I said, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Did you go out last night? Blah, 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 and this, that, and the other. And I didn't really get an answer out of him. So anyway, you know how you do. You go into the changing room, blah, blah, blah. You forget about it. Boom, next day come in. Bam, he's sleeping in the car again. I think to myself, what the fuck's going on here? I pressed him a little bit more. Still never really got nothing out of him. Bro, 3 days in a row. 3 days in a row, bro. He's outside at the training ground sleeping. In the end, I found out, not from him, because when I was pressing him, he weren't fucking really saying anything. His fucking missus has kicked him out his own house. Yeah? His own house that he was paying for. And guess what it was for? A text. He said 90. When I then found out and we was talking and we was all in a changing room, he's 90. I don't even cheat, bro. How this girl got my number, I would never know. Now, I can tell if someone's telling me that and they're fucking lying. But with this player, he wasn't lying. Whatever happened, how this person got his number, I would never know. But all the girl said is, well, hi, how are you? That was it.
You know what? That's his own stupid fault. I ain't leaving the house.
I know. But what do you do? Because she's going to cause a scene.
Demon level 9, isn't it? That's it.
This is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's rough out there. And you know what? Like, it's women can get a different hold on you.
This is what I'm trying to say.
Different.
Bro, 3 days in a row, you know, I've seen him, I'm coming in, I'm driving in, he's sleeping in the whip.
Scary.
He's been kicked out his own house. His own house that he pays everything for. She don't pay a damn thing. She just got a couple of kids for him.
hard way to live, isn't it? I'm guessing
Yeah.
there's a lot of players that regret choices and decisions they've made, whether that be financial or in a romantic sense.
And in the end, it's a divorce. He gets a divorce. That's it. He's in a 1-bedroom flat. Yeah, she's still living where she's living.
I've read somewhere there's a high portion of ex-retired footballers that get divorced, like a massive.
Yeah, massive. You know, I'm thinking now, guys, it would be brilliant to get on the show. Would be Jason Lee, who works within the PFA. I think the percentage is ridiculously high of former footballers that within 5 years of retirement are divorced or bankrupt or both.
Yeah.
I heard it was a massive statistic. I haven't got.
Yeah, it's huge.
Someone
both.
It's huge.
It's not one or the other. It's fucking both.
Yeah.
Because the actual divorce sucks out of them, then they have to become bankrupt. Sometimes they just declare bankruptcy because everything else that they fucking got to pay or whatever, this, that, is just too much. They can't do it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it comes with both. It's not just, I'm divorced or whatever. Because once you get divorced, everything's going anyway.
Jason Lee, just coming off that, do you remember when he got racially abused for about 5 years by our show? Imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine that nowadays, okay?
Yeah.
On the subject of cancel culture today, if you
Pineapple
dug out
head
a
and all that.
player consistently, okay, about his haircut and referenced it to a pineapple,
Yeah.
TV now, week in, week out, so much that they were doing chants about it.
Yeah.
Did
It was that
anyone
Badil and Skinner, wasn't it?
Did anyone think about Jason Lee's mental health when all that was happening? Did anyone consider how he may have felt about his haircut being likened to a pineapple week in, week out?
Yeah.
And Ivan Toney had the same haircut.
But now it's not acceptable to blow Ivan Toney up on the show and mock him. Do you know what I'm trying to say? No one took into account that the damage that might have done to Jason Lee, the ridicule.
I think it done a bigger damage than we actually even fucking know, to be honest.
I'm telling you. Yeah, I'd love to speak to him at some point. Okay, let's wrap this up. I'd like to say thank you very much to you both for your time today. If you are watching this on the Pitch Football app, congratulations, you made it. Great to have you on board. If you're not watching it on the YouTube channel, we're also on Spotify if you want to listen to the show on the road. Thank you again to the guys for their time today, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thank you very much.
We got deep again, didn't we? We got deep.
Yeah, we've got. I like it though. I like it, especially about them youngsters coming up, bro. Because you've got some youngsters now that we don't even know that are on like $5-6 grand a week.
See,
at City, at Arsenal.
You like the way
100%.
You like my show plan. I'm really, really happy about that.
Do you know what I mean? And fucking, I tell ya, they need Uncle 90's here, bro. Don't worry, I'm gonna fucking think you look through it. Don't worry about it. Uncle 90 is here, bro. Fuck these hoes.